first thank the veterans and the active military on duty who've made it possible for me to speak here tonight. I'd like to start out with a campaign story. This is a true story. This was from Andy. As you know, when you're out campaigning, you got to do door to door if you want to connect with the people, but it's hard to catch them at home. So when I saw an elderly lady pull into her driveway and start unloading her groceries, I smelled a vote. I pulled in behind her and I helped her with her groceries, and I looked her in the eye and I said, "Ma'am, can I have your vote?" She looked me in the eye and said, "Son, does your mom know you're doing this?" Well, I thought she knew my mom, because everybody knows my mom. So I said, "Why do you know my mom?" I thought for certain I'd get her vote if she knew my mom. She said, "No, honey, you don't look old enough to vote." But I am 41 years old. I've been married to my high school sweetheart, Rhonda, who's here with me tonight, for 18 years. We have 4 children. I'm not a typical politician, but I'm here to ask for your vote tonight. My background is that of an inventor and an entrepreneur. You see, I built a company. I know what it means to sign the front and the back of a paycheck. And I'm here to tell you, in spite of what the administration is trying to tell you, government does not create jobs. I grew up in rural Kentucky, attended public schools, and I realized early on if I was going to get ahead in life, I was going to have to use some resourcefulness, get an education, and add a whole lot of hard work to that. So I attended the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Now try to imagine an 18-year-old boy from rural Kentucky going to the most liberal congressional district in Massachusetts, and in a very urban setting. I learned very early on that I wasn't going to get along with everybody there, because you see, I stepped out of the airplane, I started across the crosswalk, and somebody honked the horn at me. Well, I threw up my hand and waved. I figured, in Lewis County, that means they know you. So I looked in the windshield to see who just happened to be in Boston at the same time as me on the first day I arrived. And I looked in the windshield and they were waving back, but they didn't have all their fingers up. So there were a lot of good people there, though, too. And I went to MIT to get a degree in electrical engineering, not social engineering. In my senior year, I invented a robotic technology that has subsequently been used for robotic surgery, and it's been used for computer-aided design. Thank you. In fact, that technology was the basis of a company that my wife and I built. We started it in our married student housing dormitory. We raised $32 million. Venture capital, not Solyndra type money, venture capital. We acquired 24 patents, and most importantly, we created 70 jobs, high-wage American jobs. We were well on our way to the American dream. There was just one part missing. We were still stuck in New England. We decided to move back to Kentucky for our kids and also to make a difference in Kentucky. This is our home, and this is where we wanted to be. So 10 years ago, we moved back. And that's why I'm running for Congress, to make a difference and also for our kids. There are 3 issues that I think we need to address immediately. Immediately. We cannot wait for these things to take care of themselves, because it'll be catastrophic for our country if we do. The first is the debt. We have to stop the profligate spending now, before it's too late. The next issue that I care passionately about, and I know something about, is energy. Our energy policy that the administration has put forward is not only crippling our economy, it's compromising our national security. We need to lift the moratoriums on drilling, on natural gas, and most importantly on the coal permits in eastern Kentucky. I've got a lot of issues, but I'm going to keep it to 3. The third one I care a lot about is tax code, our tax code. It's unfair, it's full of loopholes, and it punishes those that are trying to build businesses. I know, I tried to navigate this minefield when I built my business. Worse yet, it pushes companies offshore, where they'll locate. And then when they try to repatriate that capital, they pay a penalty. If we would do away with these problems in the tax code, we would unleash our economy. And that's what we need to do. And I'll leave you with this before I get tased. There are a lot of people that think you need to serve in government for 20 years, or maybe you need to work in the executive branch all your life before you're qualified to serve in Congress. And I would say to them, what about our founding fathers? What about the 55 delegates that framed our Constitution? Almost to a T, all of them had private jobs in private industry before they got into business. And I think what they brought from the private sector was common sense. And that's what seems to be so absent in Congress today, is common sense. They imparted common sense into our Constitution. And that's what's been ignored so much here recently. If you will elect me as your congressman, I will take Kentucky convictions and common sense to Washington, D.C. and be your voice. Thank you and God bless.